So I think the fundamental importance stems from the fact that real estate contributes about 30 to 40% of the global carbon emissions by virtue of the energy that real estate consumes. So therefore, by default, it becomes one of the most important sectors, in addition to transportation, for example, where any small amount of work can create a huge amount of impact in terms of decarbonization and to help reach the net zero goals that different countries are setting. So in that context, energy management becomes the first step in any real estate, where you can actually start reducing your energy consumption from day one without having to make big ticket investments or without having to rely on renewable energy, for example. So while everything is important in terms of investment, retrofitting, renewable energy, etc., but energy all should fall under the umbrella of energy management. We often make the mistake of trying to prioritize solar, for example, in a building, or green or blue hydrogen, for example, or retrofitting replacement of equipment. But what we miss the fact sometimes is that every building has its own inherent talent or ability to reduce energy consumption from day one without making any significant changes. And even if you were to adopt renewable energy or any other technology, they should all form part of a structured, sustainable, long term plan of that building, of where the building wants to hit in 5 years' time, or 10 years' time, or 30 years' time. So, if every country has to become net zero by 2050, by default, it means that every building has to become net zero by 2050 as well. So, it would help for developers, uh, for all kinds of buildings, to have a plan like that in place. It's this course is designed based on my personal real life experience of implementing energy management, both as a service provider as well as a end user or a building developer. So we try to bring in all those perspectives through real case studies. The program is structured into 8 modules, which goes from the global scenario of what's going on in the building sector in terms of energy management, to what's happening in the regional and local geographical territories, what kind of initiatives governments are taking, and therefore individual developers can start aligning with those initiatives and take support from the government initiatives. Uh, then we get into corporate energy management governance framework. What is the structured strategy that every corporation should adopt so that they can have effective results over a period of time? Typically, in my experience, I found that most corporations are already doing something or the other on energy management. Many corporations have started with initiatives in the past, but eventually, many cases, those initiatives fall apart because there's no structured approach, there's no proper ownership. So, what this program tries to do is define that structured approach, identify the stakeholders, who should own the program, who should execute it, what kind of KPIs should be utilized to report over a period of time, what kind of goal setting should be there, so that the organization can continue to do energy management and not look at it as one of projects. And from there, it goes into energy conservation measures, the various technologies and techniques ranging from lighting, water savings to air conditioning, measurement and verification protocols, how to measure and verify energy savings. And eventually, it also looks at some of the modules look at the financial aspects of energy management. And during the entire course, we also have assignments that are given out to the individual participants. They have to fill that in. And at the very end, there's an evaluation as well, so that we can make sure that the attendees who attended a program like this eventually have been able to absorb the learnings that we have shared. So that's all this program is all about.